Thank you very much and welcome to Sarajevo.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Mr. Cleese, did you think there would be this many fans waiting for you with your photographs and clamoring for an autograph?
No, you just never know. Really, you never know about this kind of thing. For example, my friend Eric Idle, from Monty Python, he went to Hungary recently and discovered that Monty Python is really big in Budapest. We had no idea because nobody tells us. And I was amazed when I got here because I have so many people who are doing security, big, strong men standing around. I suddenly thought I must be more important than I thought.
For decades, you've been a brand here. It's too bad you haven't come before.
Oh, but I have. I've been to Sarajevo before because I'm a good friend of Paddy Ashdown. We used to call him the King of Bosnia. We used to tease him. And I came and stayed here with him some years ago. So this is my second visit. But I'm enjoying it enormously because last time I was staying outside Sarajevo. And this time I'm really able to see what the city's like. And the extraordinary mixture of culture. It's very attractive, if you're not used to it.
It is the sixth night of the festival, and in the open-air cinema we will see a fully grown-up film, so to speak. It's been 29 years since The Fish Called Wanda was produced. Charles Crichton was the director, and it was unfortunately to be his last film. You wrote the script, and you have a lead role. It's a lot of years, but I think the memories are still fresh, and people still love the film and still talk about it.
I just remember that it was a very happy film, and it was, I think one of the reasons it was so happy was that it was quite small. It was not a big budget. It was not a big scale film. And we made it in 1987 for $7 million, which was a very small amount of money. As a result, there was no pressure on us. And we just went off. The press magazines weren't that interested. In fact, when we tried to get publicity in New York after we'd finished the film, the magazines weren't interested in doing interviews with us. It was a very sort of, what's the word? We crept in under the radar, which helped because then people discovered it for themselves. And that's, in a way, what made them so enthusiastic. It's much better that people discover it for themselves than that they're told by lots of advertising that it's wonderful, And it was a very happy occasion. We all got on very well, and I got the script absolutely right. And I was delighted with it because it's one of the very few things I'd ever done that finished up being pretty much what I was hoping it would be.
Do you like Nietzsche?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I read a lot of the philosophers because they say very funny things. Sometimes they say them in a very serious way. But I think he had most extraordinary insights. And I think it was very sad that the way he died in the end, because he was a very remarkable man.
I mentioned this because of Wanda. Wanda kept quoting Nietzsche in the film, didn't she?
Oh, yes, of course. That's right. Nietzsche was not Belgian, was it? Was something like that? Yes, I'd forgotten that. That's right. Yes, but I do read philosophers, and it's surprising how funny they are a lot of the time. People don't get, I think, that they're pointing things out that we don't normally see. And when we're surprised by someone else's insight, we often laugh.
There's a film from this region called One Song a Day Takes Mischief Away, or He Who Sings Means No Harm. And it reminds me of a maxim of yours, which you say, which I like very much. You say, he who laughs most learns best. Can you explain that a bit?
Yes, I can, I think, because when human beings are relaxed and happy, they tend to laugh much more, and they are relaxed, and therefore they're not on the defensive. And if you suggest something to someone that they could do something better, they can easily take it as a criticism and get defensive about it and not really listen to what you're saying because they're already defending themselves. Whereas if you can create a very relaxed and humorous atmosphere and then raise the subject and do it in a light-hearted way, I think they're more able to take the criticism without feeling so threatened by it. So I think a relaxed and humorous atmosphere is tremendously helpful. And of course, it's absolutely the opposite of what you ever get at these alternative right meetings. You know, we're talking about America at the moment and these extraordinary neo-Nazi meetings. One of the things that strikes you about those people is they have absolutely no sense of humor whatever. Because a sense of humor, I believe, is a sense of proportion, which of course they don't have.
The film, A Fish Called Wanda, has for a long time been a feature in comedy. People know it from before, they've seen it in the cinema or elsewhere, and people who love comedy can't wait to see it again, because these are sad times, especially in Bosnia. What was the last time you saw the film?
Oh, I saw it about 2 years ago. I agreed to talk to some students at a film school about it, and I suddenly thought, well, I better watch it because I hadn't seen it. I mean, I don't sit at home watching my own programs unless there's something that I have to do that involves talking about them. But I was very proud of it. I think I've made two very, very good films. One was Fish Called Wanda, and the other was the Python film, Life of Brian. And I'm pleased that I've made two really good films, because I think most comedians have only made about one.
I don't have reliable information, but do you know, has the film ever been shown in an open-air cinema?
It was shown in the open air when I went to Italy to promote the film all those years ago in 1988. And I went to Rome because I'd been nominated for an Italian Oscar, which is called David di Donatello. And I had a marvelous time there. I turned up on the red carpet just like this, and I walked up with my wife, and the doors didn't open, so I knocked on the door, and there was no reply, and I rattled the door because it was locked, and I looked inside. There was a man vacuuming the carpet with a vacuum cleaner, and I knocked on the door, and he just let me know, no, we're not ready for you yet. So I had to walk back down the red carpet, which I think was one of the most humiliating moments of my life. But I remember that we have an open-air showing in Venice, and I just love doing things in the open air. I've just been filming a week before last, and the last week we filmed in the open air, and it's just wonderful. I don't know what it is, I just love it.
The experience from all these past years tells us that in Sarajevo, all the directors, the actors are very happy to see their films in the open, and that makes their memories of participating in the Sarajevo Film Festival unforgettable. I'm sure it will be the same for you. A year ago, Tom Bennett, an actor from the UK, said that the atmosphere is much like at a football match. I'm sure that you will have happy memories from Sarajevo. How are you expecting to feel at the screening tonight?
Well, I'm just looking forward to it so much, because you see, it really surprised me when I got here, and two or three of the people who are looking after me and explaining what happens, what I need to do, they started to tell me how well known I was here, and I really did not expect it. There's parts of the world where I am very well known. In Northern Europe, Scandinavia, Holland, Belgium, Germany, I'm very well known there. But sometimes, of course, I go to countries, if I go to Italy, they have very, very few of them have any idea who I am. And the same in southern France. The southern Catholic countries don't seem to know me so well, but if I go into Hungary or Poland, then they know me well. And you don't know. You have to arrive in a country and say, excuse me, am I very famous here? And they say, no, I'm sorry, I've never heard of you. And you say, oh, no, that's fine. Then I won't be famous.
In front of so many people, this is an audience of around 3,000 people, you will receive the Honorary Heart of Sarajevo for your exceptional contribution to the art of film. It sounds really good. Can you comment on this fact, on this recognition?
Well, it's a tremendous compliment, particularly if you look at the list of people who've accepted this award before. I'm thinking of Oliver Stone. There's a major figure. Then you have Robert De Niro. And I'm afraid I'm not in their league. This is quite clear. But I think this, if I may say so, I think that this award is not so much for film. I think it's for comedy in general, and particularly for television series like Monty Python and Fawlty Towers. And I'm very happy to do that because I began to realize about 3 years ago that what I do and what we comedians do, which is make people laugh, well, we try to, it's very important because it can change people's mood. And I looked at the O2 when we were performing in front of 16,000 people, the Monty Python show. And I thought, we're actually not just entertaining people, we're actually doing some good. They're having a really good time, they're happy, they go home and they've forgotten, the Ukraine and Syria and, for that matter, a few years ago, just Sarajevo, because there's so much tragedy going on all over the world and the media concentrate on it so much. I don't think it's as easy these days to be as carefree as people could have been, let's say, 100 years ago.
The film is a British-American co-production, so there's John Cleese, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Kline, Michael Palin, 3 nominations for the Oscar, then a bunch of BAFTA awards, and it all really sounds very impressive, doesn't it, Mr. Cleese? And you must be such a happy company who managed to make it something that is loved by audiences and juries alike.
Yes, well, I think people realize, actually, that comedy is difficult. And the other problem with being a comedian is if you try to be funny and you fail, it's very embarrassing. You see, if actors try and do a scene and it doesn't work very well, it's not embarrassing, it's just boring. But in our case, when we try and make people laugh and they don't laugh, it's really humiliating. So it's a great feeling when you get it right. But you see, Fish Called Wanda, because I had the idea, I wrote it with the director, Charlie Crichton, who got an Oscar nomination at the age of 71. And I cast it, and I got the crew together and all this kind of thing. The whole thing took me 2 3/4 years. That's a lot of time. And when I tried to do it a second time with a film called Fierce Creatures set in a zoo, it didn't work so well. It's not bad. It's as good as most comedies. But you suddenly realize 2 3/4 years is a long time to spend on doing something that doesn't work that well. So I'm very happy I had that one success. And as I said, Life of Brian, which I do think is the best of all the Monty Python films. I'm very proud of them both.
Allow me to say a couple of key points from your biography. It's in a way to go against what you said, that you're not quite in the league of those who have received the Honorary Heart of Sarajevo before, because I believe you are. So John Cleese is an English comedian and scriptwriter. The high point of his career was marked by the cult comedy series Monty Python's Flying Circus, and there's also Fawlty Towers and feature films Monty Python and the Holy Grail, The Life of Brian, The Fish Called Wanda. At the end of the 90s and the start of this century, acted in 2 James Bond movies and 2 of the Harry Potter movies. Now, I've looked it up and I saw that you're in the company of Rowan Atkinson, John Bishop, Peter Sellers, Harry Hill. You are a legend, so to speak. And one does not step softly into a legend like Wyatt Earp did. A comedian must find a different way.
It's very nice. I like being included on a list with people like that. And it's a good feeling to make people laugh. And as I say, as I get older and I look around the world, I think we do need comedy more and more. And just before I came out, I was watching last night's television in America and watching Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Rogen making fun of Trump's remarks. And I thought, what I like about comedians is they're quite bold. They'll take risks. I told someone recently that I thought that if Rupert Murdoch, who I loathe and detest, as he's done more damage to my country than anyone since the Luftwaffe, He's trying to take over 100% control of Sky Television. And I said to a big television executive, I said, if that happens, I'm not going to be working for Sky. And he said to me, it's interesting, there's a lot of comedians who are saying that, but not actors. So that's what I like about comedians, they stick their neck out.
When you find yourself together with Graham Chapman, Michael Palin, Terry Jones, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, when you go down to the pub for a pint, is it an atmosphere that's full of laughter, where you remember all the situations, all the scenes that you've made and how you made other people laugh? And not just yourselves who participated in Monty Python. And you were also both actors and scriptwriters, which is a strange kind of symbiosis, and I think it is unique in the world of film.
Yeah, it was very unusual. It's become a little more usual now that we wrote all our own material. But yes, we've always said that when we get together, we laugh more than we do at any other time. I used to say that, but I have to say the woman I am now married to, whose name is Jennifer Wade, she and I laugh as much as I laugh with the Pythons. It's wonderful to have met her. But up to that time, the Pythons are the people we get together. We hadn't seen each other for 6 months, and we would just laugh and laugh and laugh. But it wasn't so much about recounting the past or recalling sketches. We just laugh because that's the atmosphere, and that's when I think people are at their best. Because when they're laughing, they're more generous, they're less anxious, they're more spontaneous.
This is a great joy for the people of Bosnia-Herzegovina, who have been sad, I have to tell you, because of all of these post-transition processes. And I'm very glad that I have been able to host such a joyful man for them. A man who can make other people laugh, a man who can convey this positive energy. And also thank you for bringing your film, A Fish Called Wanda, to Sarajevo, so that many people from the city and many people who have come to the Sarajevo Film Festival will see it.
Well, that's a lovely thing to say, and I thank you very much. And I tell you, I'm having such a good time that at lunch I said to the director of the festival, I said, why don't you ask me back next year? And he said, do you want to be on the jury? And I said, yes. So I'll be back.
And I really wish you a pleasant night in Sarajevo, a pleasant encounter with the audience, and I hope that you will be back in Sarajevo so we can meet again.
It's a great pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'll try and stand up. It's not easy at my age.
Thank you and good luck in the Raiffeisen Open Air Cinema, where 3,000 people will be there for the screening of A Fish Called Wanda. Thank you, I understand. Lovely. Dear viewers, my guest tonight was John Cleese, one of the most important comedians in the world, man whose film A Fish Called Wanda, which was nominated for the Oscars, will be screened tonight in the Raiffeisen Open Air Cinema. My name is DževdetTuzlić. Stay tuned.